Here's tips and strategies on how to make your bench press more shoulder friendly and get more chest gains. So with the bench press, the straight bar bench press that is, while it's a great exercise to get stronger and build a chest, a lot of times, especially as you kind of get older and you have maybe some joint issues, you'll start feeling stuff in your shoulders and not in your chest, and that becomes not the best exercise. So what I want to do is not only show you some different tools, but also strategies, coaching cues, little tweaks that will not only make your bench press more effective to feel your chest, but to not bang up your shoulders. So for your shoulders to feel good in the bench press. So check this out as I show you the different things. So I'm a big fan of using specialty bars. I'll show a couple because the specialty bars are made to make it more shoulder friendly. So this is one of them. By the way, there's no affiliation here. I just love this bar. It's called the Cadillac bar from Kabuki. So it kind of doesn't only have a neutral grip, but it has a nice angle grip to create a good position for your shoulders. It's curved so you can kind of get a bigger range of motion if you want to, but it just feels great. It's one of my favorite bars for benching. And you'll kind of just see I'll do a couple reps here. They have different handles. You can see that extra range of motion there, but the great thing is all that range of motion is coming from my chest and not from my shoulders. Now, I completely understand that if you don't have access to that or not buying that, that might not be an option, but that's okay because guess what? I'll show you a whole bunch of coaching cues, techniques, little tweaks that will help you build your chest and not feel your shoulders. So let's start with, I would say, form and coaching cues because that's where you can get quite a few benefits. Now, right off the bat, you will see many people that bench pretty damn wide. And if you look at me, I call this the T, right? So if I'm here, you can see my elbows are at a T. This would be an I, and this is a W. So I want to be in a W, and you'll see the top powerlifters also do this because one is more shoulder friendly, they can actually bench more. But here, what's happening is the shoulder has the most space, right? And you could, if you try this out, everybody's anatomy is a little bit different, but if I come down here, I'm feeling a stretch in my chest. Now, if I'm coming out here, I'm starting to feel my shoulder. Now, I've been training and lifting for a long time, but most people, they'll come up here, and all of a sudden, the tension goes into their shoulders versus into their pecs. You start coming down here. Ooh, this feels much better. Also, I'm feeling my lats, right? And the lat is basically the shelf you see your base to bench press off of. And you've probably heard an analogy of you can't shoot a cannon out of a canoe. You need stability. So, first things first, just making sure that we're in this W, and you can play around yourself to see as you're moving, oh, okay, I feel my chest here more, I feel my shoulder less. Everybody's gonna have a little bit of a different kind of position, again, based on your shoulder anatomy, but find that spot, okay? I'm gonna make sure that my wrist or my knuckles are right underneath my elbow, so I have that stability. Also, really important part is, you've heard a coaching cue of like break the bar. I don't really coach that anymore. I want to reach with my chest to the bar at all times. And as I'm benching up, I'm going to push myself into the pad, right? So we're going to lift off. Now remember, we're going to get that W. Notice, knuckles up to the ceiling. I'm going to roll the bar down, keeping that W. And then I'm going to push myself into the pad. Okay, so controlling down. Push myself into the pad. Okay, so just those coaching cues can be very, very helpful. And a lot of times we'll clean people's form up and be like, oh wow, I don't feel my shoulders anymore. Now, again, we want to kind of stack these things. So think of this, the more beat up your shoulders are, the more these next strategies will be helpful. It's doing a slight incline. And some benches, you can kind of just do a slight incline. This one, I'll just pop it up, boom, so you can see there's a slight incline now. And slight inclines in general can be quite a bit more shoulder friendly because of that position, even with dumbbells, which I'll show you later. And now that I do the slight incline, again, trying those same, I would say that same form, you might see some more relief on the shoulders, feeling it more in your chest. And I'm gonna also stack this up because you'll see in powerlifting, you know, chains become a modality. It's called accommodating resistance. You'll see it in sports because it can be helpful to accelerate the bar, right? You can see it in powerlifting to work on certain weak links and whatnot. But I found it very helpful for lifters if you've had beat up shoulders what is the position usually that you'll have, you know, a tweak or pain or something like that? It'll be more towards those end ranges. So this is going to deload the weight at the bottom where we're weaker, and it's going to make the weight heavier, right, as we go through this range of motion at the top where we're stronger. So now it doesn't just become a great tool for, I would say, athletes or powerlifters. It becomes a great tool for, you know, what I would call like beat up folks that still want to build muscle, have their joints feel great. So those couple of tweaks with the form that I just talked about, right, we're now combining it, and I'm going to go through this, I would say, position now, lift off, again, keeping that W. At that bottom, that weight deloads, and I accelerate it up. Okay, and what's great about that is you just feel that load coming down lower, less tension on the shoulders. Again, the form is helping out with that too. But this becomes a very viable strategy for lifting in general and whatever rep ranges you're doing, just because it can be more shoulder friendly. On top of that, another thing that we could add that, actually Trail, grab one of those boards for me right there, wooden boards. Now, you can do a lot of different things here. You can do a wooden board, you can do, thank you, you can do a foam roller, but we would do, for instance, restrict that range of motion a little bit, where somebody would just put this, and now we can go to the board, one board, two board, right? And again, now we're just restricting that range of motion. And as we work on our mobility, which is the goal, so meaning our thoracic mobility, our shoulder mobility, we should also have better form, better range of motion when it comes to the bench press. So these are all viable strategies. And then in a second, I'm going to show you something else that I think is important when it comes to this, that'll help you out with building your chest and saving your shoulders. Now, last but not least, look, it's important to understand that there is no mandatory exercises, right? So the bench press is not mandatory. It's a great exercise that you can and should use to build your chest, to build pushing strength. But many a times, like, we'll get clients that go, hey man, like, I want to get stronger in my pressing movements, I want to, you know, build my chest up, and like, I have to do chest. Now, we talked about, I would say, specialty bars, like I would say the Cadillac bar, the Duffalo bar, there's a football neutral bar, right? It's a lot of great bars that you can use. But also, like, you could just switch it up to a bench press. And again, switching up to a bench press, dumbbell bench press is a very viable option and great because we can change the position, right? We can, by the way, you're seeing this kind of slight incline that we got. And now, with dumbbells, I can keep a little bit, so this is completely pronated. I can go to 35-degree angle here, and this can be so much more shoulder friendly. You can see how much more range of motion I get, and my chest is actually going to work more in these positions, right? So when you think about that, again, maybe it just comes down to using a different tool to use, because it's going to be more effective to build more tension, to build more strength, and keep your shoulders under less stress. Last but not least, kind of, it's like you'll see me in this weird contraction, but this is another tool. Again, like, we're talking about different tools. The slingshot, again, no affiliation in a way, I just love it. Because now, for me to bench, I'm going to have to spread this apart, activate my upper back more, create some more space in my shoulders, because a lot of people will be kind of rounded from lifestyle, from whatever it may be, right, breathing, and this will allow me now, it gives me an external cue, right? I don't have to really be coached and cued, I just know I have to rip it apart, right? And what that's going to do for a lot of folks that feel that pinching in their shoulders, right, I'm coming up, and I have to automatically, right here, especially in this position, it feels so much better. I feel zero tension in the shoulders. I feel my upper back lighting up. And it makes a significant difference. And again, we've had folks that, you know, couldn't bench press, that would use just even a couple of these strategies, that all of a sudden now they're benching pain-free, filling it in the chest. So you can do a couple, start with the coaching cues for sure, add tools if you have them at your disposal. But again, some of these things, if you want to build up your bench, build up your pressing, build your chest without shoulder pain, are great, I would say, strategies. So if you want more tips like this to feel, look, perform more like an athlete, make sure you follow this channel.